No, I'm fine.
You all right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so hopefully we'll have some people come on.
Yeah, cool.
If not, we're going to still record.
Yeah.
So, last minute post yesterday about my excitement about having a chat with David Shepherd.
It's me.
I can't believe I'm sat here with David. I've got his book. David, I've got your book.
Oh, Presenting Magically?
Presenting Magically.
Brilliant.
And you can see I haven't read it yet.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So I've started it.
About page 20. Good.
Probably around page 20. But how many of us have got amazing books on our bookshelves that needs reading? I think it's called Shelf Development, isn't it, David?
Yeah.
So, Sonia, hi, darling. How are you?
Hi, Sonia.
So I've come to David's office to talk to him to get some insights from him. Because I believe that David has a brilliant mind. I went to one of his workshops recently and it just blew me away. And I've actually got a photograph of David at the NLP conference last year. He probably doesn't remember me because I was just one of many, many faces, but I did have a photograph and I have got a photograph of you.
Is that when I did the session, the Speakers of Influence, how to use NLP from
that's
the stage?
Right. Yeah. So I sort of pushed my way forward and got a photograph of David. And so I'm a great admirer of his. And now David Shepherd is well renowned for what he does, his NLP work and Huna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I thought it'd be really good to have a conversation with David about what he does, how he does it, and how we can actually use NLP and Huna and timeline therapy in our lives. Because I'm all about how to apply these skills, right? Because you probably have a lot of skills, lots of tools in your toolbox, but if you're not using them, you may as well not have them, right, David?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So would you like to just introduce yourself some more to everybody?
So as you've heard, my name's David Shepherd. I started out in what I might call the empowerment business. I was just telling you about 29 years ago. I bought a franchise or a license for a company called the Centre for Achievement, which was a really early adopter of coaching, business coaching.
Right.
You know, as I was saying, in late 1990, if you played tennis, you might have a coach. But other than that, the only other kind of coach was one that you went on when you went on holiday, you know.
Yeah.
So very early days of coaching. And I've got to admit, I made an absolute unmitigating disaster out of it. Because one of the things I hadn't realised was, you know, you can be a fantastic coach, you can have loads of coaching skills, but if you don't have any clients, nobody knows how good you are, right? Plus, you don't have any money, which is a real key limitation. So, you know, within a very short period of time, I'd lost the house, lost the car, lost the wife. Still can't remember where I left her. And I'm in this little bed sit and in West London, and I thought, how the hell did that happen? You know, and the thing that turned it around for me was learning NLP.
Right.
And so I did my NLP practitioner training in 1993 because I decided that I wanted to do world-class sales trainings with NLP. And that's what I'd gone for. Little did I know that week would completely be, I know it's a bit cliched now, but be totally life-changing for me because I got two significant emotional events in my life. One was my dad dying because he died very young.
Yeah.
We were very close, so that was a traumatic experience for me. Then my marriage ending in divorce, so I got the full lot of negative emotions: anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, shame, you know, the works. Yeah. And I thought life was about just learning how to cope with those things. I didn't realise you could actually learn techniques that would enable you to let them go. And in the space of an afternoon, all that disappeared. I had this big limiting belief of I'm not good enough, which has a fairly detrimental effect on every single area of your life.
Yep.
I didn't realise that was a limiting belief, I just thought it was true.
Yes.
That was gone. You know, if I was at school today, I'd probably be diagnosed with attention deficit disorder, ADHD or whatever, and dyslexia and whatever, all those kind of things. But I went to school in the 60s.
Yeah.
So I was just diagnosed as being thick. And you know, during my practitioner training, all of that disappeared. So I was like, wow, this is the stuff we should be taught at school.
Absolutely.
Rather than useful things like the Battle of Hastings is 1066. So I went up to the trainer, Tad James, who was the creator of timeline therapy and also now a very good friend of mine, 26 years later. And I said, I want to do what you do. I want to take this. Because I looked around at NLP training in the UK. And I got introduced to NLP by Tony Robbins' book, Unlimited Power. So it was all about success and taking action and this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I looked at the NLP trainings that were available in the UK at that point in time, and none of it was really geared around success. It was all a little bit fluffy and you know, nice, but just not what I was used to. So nobody's doing this kind of thing in the UK, in Europe. I want to take this and take it to the other side of the Atlantic.
Okay, so David, let me just say hello to Andy Coley. Thanks for
Hi,
jumping
Andy.
on, Andy. And
Hello,
Sonia.
Andy.
And Sonia.
Hi, Sonia.
Hi, Sonia. So have a think about any questions that you might have for David as we go through. Just pop them in and I'll put them to him for you.
Yeah, definitely. So literally I came back from that practitioner training and started an NLP business. And we've been doing it ever since for 26 years. But I think that, you know, the thing that we were talking about is, you know, very much about, I've always been very much about the application of NLP rather than just the concepts and the theories of it.
Yeah. How
do you use it? How do you use it to improve your life? How do you use it to enable other people to improve their life?
Yeah.
You know, as we're saying, you know, I think there's a lot of people. Is that what's that? Is that the low
battery? Oh, okay.
I'll keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
So for me, it's been very, very much about, you know, if you want to be in the empowerment business, how do you go out and do it successfully? And as I said before, how do you get clients? And what I'm seeing in, let's say, the empowerment business in general, in speaking, and training, and coaching, and therapy, and all those kind of things, is what I'm seeing in general is people struggling. So my kind of drive really has always been, if people want to have an empowerment business, how do you do that successful? So that's what we've been chatting about before we actually came on. We're just looking for a power lead because the iPad's going to collapse at some point in time because we've got low battery coming up. So and I run a number of businesses. I'll keep vamping. We run a number of businesses. We run a successful therapy business called Fix My Mind. Successful NLP training company called Performance Partnership, where we certify people in NLP and timeline therapy and hypnotherapy and also Y and Huna. I'm off out to Hawaii a week today, actually, to do our biannual Huna intensive. And also I work with private clients as well. I think we got what we need to get sorted.
Has it died?
Nope, we're still on.
Still on, okay.
You've got an extension lead. So you can plug the extension lead over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be. Then we're going to have to move this a little bit closer. Oops. Andy's got a question.
Okay.
Let's just get that plugged in first. Andy's got a question.
Right.
How do you get power to your iPad? Yeah, we go.
Okay,
doing a little bit of furniture removing here, guys. This is how you know that this is genuinely and really live.
It really is.
So what's Andy's question there?
So Andy's asking you, I always ask those who've been in the field of NLP to help our practitioners, is where do you recommend that, recommend that people put their attention once they've done the initial training to get the practice in?
Right.
Get the practice in and become unconsciously competent.
Okay. Yeah. The real thing around this is obviously NLP can accelerate learning. There's definitely no doubts about that. And just like anything else, you get good by practicing. So, when I actually said to Tad, how do I do what you do? What do I need to do? He said, I don't. Nobody's ever asked me that before. Let me go away and think about it for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then I'll get back to you. And he got back to me a couple of days later. And he gave me this whole raft of trainings that I'd have to do, plus also coaching on trainings,
Right.
and then a list of about 100 books to read. So I had to get some things sorted out with that, because when I was at school I only used to read one book a year. And I thought, this is going to take me 100 years before I get started. And it's one of those things, I was looking at it, I was going, I've got no clue how I'm going to do this. But my mouth opened, it went, okay, I'll do it. And then my conscious mind goes like, how are you going to do that? So I think that's an important thing, is to coach. But also, as soon as I came back from my practitioner training, I started doing two things. I started seeing clients, working with clients using my NLP and my timeline therapy and my hypnotherapy skills.
Okay.
And I also, I thought, who's got money and who likes to be at the real leading edge of things? This was like in 1993, and the first thing that popped into my mind was life insurance salespeople. Because at this point in time, they're all on commission only.
Right.
And I thought, can you use NLP to improve your sales skills? And the answer to that question is absolutely yes, you can. In those days, British Telecom used to give you a free prospecting list.
Oh.
It was called the Yellow Pages.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
So I opened up the Yellow Pages for Northwest London, and there was financial services. There was about 120 companies. So I started phoning them up to speak to the branch manager. And knowing that the branch manager in those days had to do a weekly meeting.
Right.
But most of them didn't want to do it. Yeah, they were bored, they didn't know what material to do, whatever. So I phoned them up and said, I'll come along and do your weekly meeting for you.
Right.
As long as I can sell my training and the coaching to your sales guys.
Right.
And I just went in and taught them rapport. Yeah, matching and mirroring physiology and how to do voice matching for when you're doing cold calling and all that kind of stuff. So I had to, because I got no money, right? So I had to get out there and make money to be able to pay to do all the trainings that Tad said I've got to do before I could do anything else.
Right.
So, I go, with Andy's question, I think it's a great question, Andy, so thanks for that, is there's no better way than just chucking yourself off the deep end.
Really?
Because then, you either drown or you've got to learn to swim.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the two questions that you ask yourself, it was, who can I coach?
Yeah.
And who's got the money?
Yeah.
Yes? Because without your clients, you haven't got a business.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know from my point of view, I love to coach people on a specific thing, but there may not be any money in that. And so what would you advise me to do right now, which is where I am? So...
Okay. We've had a little bit of a chat around this beforehand. I'm going to say something pretty controversial. I'll probably get flamed for this, but it's on your profile, so it's fine. I actually don't believe there is a market for life coaching.
Wow.
Do people need a life coach? Yes. Do they want a life coach? No. Would people rather spend several £1,000s to go on holiday to get away from their life for a week, rather than spend those thousands of pounds to get it sorted out for good?
Yeah,
they're
been
going on
my
holiday.
experience, yes.
Right. So,
hi, Sandy.
So really, it's about, we talked about this other concept as well, which was around sell people what they want, give them what they need.
Okay, can you give me an example of that?
Yeah, I think one of the things about things like NLP is it has people become very towards thinking, because of that whole concept of don't think of a blue tree, right?
Right.
Yeah. But so if you're doing coaching, I think a big mistake a lot of coaches make is what they do is they go around selling this pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. How wonderful your life will be after you've been coached. Yeah.
Yeah.
People won't buy that. But what people will do is they will buy coming along for one session with you and getting rid of their panic attacks. Yeah? They don't come to you to relax. They come to you to not panic.
I'm looking for quick fixes.
Yeah. That's what the world is today.
Right.
Yeah? They want quick fixes. Fix me. Which is why my business partner James Wallace and I called our therapy business Fix My Mind. Yeah. Now, of course, a lot of NLPers came to me like, have you not heard of cause and effect and responsibility for change and all that kind of stuff? You teach this and then you go and call your business Fix My Mind. And well, also think about pacing and leading. Yeah. If we'd called the business Fix Your Own Mind, I don't think we'd have any clients, right? But because people want to have the idea that they could be fixed, even though I know it's not possible. But you pace where they are right now.
Right.
And then lead them to where they want to be.
Okay.
So, the hook that will get people into coaching, into therapy, or whatever it is think about your ideal client.
Right.
And then ask yourself the question, where are they hurting most?
Okay.
Yeah, where's their biggest pain?
Right.
And then convince them that you can get them out of the pain. They'll pay for that.
Right.
We did a little bit of a coaching session before we started, didn't we?
Yeah, we certainly did.
And we found what the linchpin was really quickly.
Yeah, we did. Something I might I was in denial about, to be honest. So yes. You also said something about the business of coaching.
Yeah.
The coaching business and the business of coaching.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't heard this before.
Okay.
So can you explain to our people on the call? Sandy, feel free to pop your questions in here for David. He'll have a go at answering them for you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so I think linguistically, it's a very subtle difference between people go, okay, I've got a coaching business, rather than I'm in the business of coaching. Yeah. There are people who go, I have a therapy business, which is very different than I'm in the business of therapy.
Right.
Yeah. And it's very, very subtle linguistically, but the internal representations are very different.
Yes.
And see, if you're talking about NLP training, what most NLP training does, and let's also be, brutally honest, there are different levels of quality in NLP training at this point in time, which is why one of the things that I'm on a mission about, which is one of the reasons why we did that Sex, Money and Power event that you went to.
Yeah, is that a one-off?
No, we're doing some more.
Okay.
We've got some more, they're scheduled already.
Okay.
was that because there are people who are going along to NLP trainings that just really weren't good NLP trainings, or they were going to work with somebody who just wasn't good at NLP, they left going, NLP doesn't work. Yeah? NLP is rubbish, which, that's absolutely not my experience, it's not my client's experience, it's not my student's experience, and I know it's not your experience either. Yeah.
Not at all.
So I wanted to, be on a mission to go to demonstrate to people, NLP absolutely works. But then also to teach people how to do the business side of it.
Yes.
Because, over the 25, 26 years that I've been doing NLP training, I've seen some amazing trainers, amazing speakers, amazing coaches, amazing consultants, amazing therapists that have no clients. And I think that's, and then what a lot of people do is because they don't know how to do that bit, they think there's something wrong with them. But it's just, you were never taught how to do the business side of those. I mean, a lot of people go, I just want to be a coach. I don't want to do business. Oops. And then it doesn't work.
When do you teach that on your training? When do you start to introduce that?
Right away, to be honest with you. So my thing was, different people come and do NLP trainings for different reasons. Some come for just purely personal development.
Yeah.
Others come for how to use NLP to do what they're currently doing better. Yeah. And then there are some people who come and learn NLP because they see it as being a new career or a new business opportunity.
Right.
And so my thing that's really important to me is that if somebody were to come and do a practitioner training with me, and they did do that practitioner training to then make money from their practitioner skills, that they'd be able to do that, practitioner. So these are things you could work with somebody at the level of practitioner of NLP, hypnotherapy, and timeline therapy that people will pay you for, so you can get a return on your investment.
Right.
Then again, when you come and do master practitioner, then there are a wider range of things that you can monetize your newfound master practitioner skills of NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnosis. So I teach people how to do that.
Right.
So for instance, like breakthrough sessions. Not only how do you deliver a breakthrough session, but how do you go about selling breakthrough sessions. And then, if somebody then goes, I want to be a trainer, I want to be an NLP trainer, how do you do that? Yeah. So each step of the way, there are ways that people can get a return on their investment straight away.
Right. So Daniela, this is what you've got coming up for you is it October?
October, yeah. Hi, Daniela.
Yeah. Sounds like I know you're in really good hands, but David's training seems to go beyond. Just learning about NLP. It's about how to use it in your business and how to monetize it.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited.
That comes down to two things. How do you monetize it? One is, how do you advertise it successfully to get leads? And then how do you sell it successfully to get clients? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the key things. Advertising, selling, delivery.
Right.
Yeah. And as we were saying, you were saying, wow, so you teach people how to sell with NLP, and I go, yeah, it's in the app.
Yes.
which you've got, right?
I was telling David that, I've got this idea that we are sitting on gold, particularly when you've done the NLP training. You've got gold. You do master practitioner. You're on platinum. But if you don't know how to use it, you may as well not have it at all. So David's got this app, which is super, super cheap.
It is. It is cheap. I lovingly call it the Netflix of NLP.
The Netflix of NLP.
And it's priced the same as Netflix. Although Netflix have put their prices up, so I might have to think about it. So get in there soon.
No, don't think about that. Just
because once you've subscribed, you get it for that price for life, no matter what price it goes up to, as long as you keep your subscription up to date.
Yeah.
So if you go to davidshepard.com, that's shephard.
Yes.
.com, then there's all the information there for you to subscribe, and there's a program in there, which is what I was talking about, called Selling Magically, which was a 2-day NLP based sales training. How do you use NLP to sell?
Yeah. I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah. And I said, well, there's a hint. It's called Selling Magically. Also, Presenting Magically is in there.
Yeah.
The training course.
Right.
It goes with the book. That's in there too.
Okay. So David's app is only about $6.99 a month.
$6.99 a month to get it to try it out for a month.
Wasn't the first month free as well? Yeah. So you can try it out and see. But it's knowing where to go. You know, so you know when you know you need something, knowing the right person to go to.
Yeah.
Like for instance, you know, when I have a problem in my life, you know, and I've got a network. I've got a very good network of friends. There's certain friends I don't go to for certain things. Yes? Mm-hmm. And so in your business is knowing who to go to for specific things.
Yeah. I think that's important.
Yeah. So
have you had any other questions?
Highly recommend the app. I don't know, Sandy, have you got a question, or Daniela, do you have a question? I know you're really excited about joining David in October. Can't see any other questions. It's Andy's question. Right. So let me ask you a question while you guys have a think about it, David. So you talked about, I mean, I agree with you. For me, it's all about application. How do you apply NLP in your day-to-day life? So I think on the personal level, I'm fairly happy with how things are. I mean, stuff happens, but I've got the tools to manage that. Mm-hmm. In my business, how do I get over this block that I've got about selling, for instance?
Okay. So
is that in the app?
What's the block that you've got about selling?
I've come a long way where I thought, well, because I enjoy what I do so much, I know a lot of coaches really just love what they do.
Yeah.
How do you, I used to say to myself, well, why should I charge for it? You know, I'll charge a little bit.
Right.
I'll charge a little bit, but I wouldn't charge enough.
Right. I think that's a bit of a problem in our marketplace at this particular point in time. I don't think people charge enough. And I do hear people go like, I love doing this so much, I would do it for free. No. I'd do it even if people didn't pay me. No. I was like that. Stuff like that, right?
It's cute, isn't it?
Yeah. But you see, if you put out, I'd do this for free, what you're basically saying is worth nothing. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I always think about this, the Stella Artois advert.
Yeah.
Reassuringly expensive. As an example, in Fix My Mind with the business partner James Mallinson, as I was saying to you, he's booked up until the end of October at this particular point in time.
You can dream, can't you?
Well, don't dream, put a deadline on it and make it a goal.
Make it a goal, not a dream.
And we charge, on average, or he charges, on average, 4 times more than the majority of other hypnotherapists. Right? So he charges currently $290 plus VAT for a 90-minute session. And he's booked up until the end of October. Yeah.
What does it take to do that? Is it courage? What does it take to say, this is what my services are worth? What does it take?
Belief. So let me ask you a question. Let's say that you've got somebody, and this is something that we're seeing a huge increase at the moment, that has panic attacks. how much is it worth for somebody to have their panic attacks stop and stop for good in one session?
Yeah, how much is that worth? It's priceless, isn't it?
Right. But you see, this is the other thing people do. It's priceless.
Yeah.
Which basically you've said it's got no price to it.
Oh, right.
So let's say I am an executive and I earn, let's say, 6 figures, but I've got a completely debilitating phobia of public speaking. How much is it worth to me to get rid of that phobia of public speaking?
Thousands of pounds, I would say.
Right. Now, here's the thing from a selling point of view. Right? So let's say this executive goes, wow, if I could get rid of my phobia of public speaking, can we do that with NLP and timeline therapy?
Yes, we
can.
Yeah.
That's worth like thousands to me. Yeah. And as long as you're charging less than thousands, that's now a no-brainer. Because this person's going, getting rid of my phobia is worth £2,000. And I'm going to see this person and get rid of it for 500 quid. I've just turned my £500 into £2,000.
Right.
Who wouldn't do that?
How do you start a conversation with people, though? Because if I've got a problem, I'm not thinking about it in monetary terms, am I? You've got to put a value. Me as a seller,
right?
Do I have to put a value on it? You have to put that in the person's mind who's got the problem.
Yeah.
Ask them the question that you've just asked me.
Yeah.
Basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
So, I've worked with coaching clients, and as a result of me coaching them, they've made 9 figures.
Right.
And I charge them 10,000 for it.
Right.
So 10,000 out to get 9 figures back is a bargain.
Bargain.
That's why you've got to think about it.
Right.
But you see, until you think that way, the client's not going to think that way.
Right. You've got to start thinking that way, folks.
You've got to think this way as far as if this person doesn't say yes, there's only one reason why they would not say yes to this. It's because they're an idiot. And I don't work with idiots. So thank you for declaring yourself as being not one of my clients. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, as I'm talking like this, you might be having some limiting beliefs come up. People who are...
Talking money.
Talking money.
Talking money can be difficult, right?
Right. Get rid of that one then. Similarity belief change.
Right.
Or timeline therapy limiting decision process.
All in the app, I expect.
Yeah, all in the app. Everything's in the app. But yeah, so, business is about money.
Right. Business is about money, and we're in the business of coaching.
Here's something which I use a lot when I talk to people is, and I think this was the head of the London Business School, said there's only 2 reasons for being in business. Money and fun.
Yeah.
If you don't have both, it's not sustainable. If you're making lots of money but it's not fun, it's not sustainable. If you're having lots of fun but you don't have any money, it's not sustainable. I think a lot of people in coaching and therapy and the NLP world in general are having lots of fun but they're not making any money.
Yeah.
And it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
But, what we've already been talking about is the value of good NLP is undeniable.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sandy has a question, David.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm held back by my apprehension about spending money on venues and advertising in case it doesn't pay for itself. I don't have the money to take the risk on. Do you know that limiting belief?
Yep.
It takes money to make money. There's a question.
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting one then. So well, when was it? It would probably be about 10 years ago now. I just started using Facebook. Before then, I was opposed to Facebook. I just hated the idea. I couldn't think of anything worse than waking up in the morning and finding that somebody you didn't even know had poked you in the night. But all my competitors were using Facebook, so I go like, right, you've got to suck it up and get onto Facebook.
Yeah.
So I was learning how to use groups.
Right.
I was having an experience pretty much similar to yours, which, even 29 years in, I still have this experience where you're taking massive action on your goals and it feels like you're running through treacle. Right? That's 29 years in, I still get that.
Wow.
Yeah? So I thought, I wonder if there's other people out there that have the same thing. And I thought, I'll set up a group, which was what exactly could we achieve in the 30 days of November if we just didn't buy into our own bullshit story.
Yeah.
This is my experience at the moment. Let's just support each other and just to take massive action through November and see what we can achieve.
Yeah.
And went to bed. When I woke up in the morning, there was about 100 people in the group. I was doing Presenting Magically that day. By lunchtime, there was like 200, 300 people in the group. I think it's now about 1,600 people in the group. It's called Our Best Year Yet. People were saying, this is just what I need. This is phenomenal. This is great. This is where this is leading into your question, Sandy. So I thought, I wonder if these people in this group would like to come to an event. But I'd never done anything with an event on Facebook before. So I thought, how do I test this out for free? So I got some Hilton honours points at that point in time. So I went to Hilton and said, could I use my honours points for a seminar room rather than the bedroom? And they said, yeah. Yeah. So I actually got the ballroom at the Hilton at Paddington for free. Right. So no risk there. So I went out to the people in the group and said, look, I'm thinking of doing this event. I'm going to call it, let's make 2009 our best year yet. Yeah. It's a 4-hour seminar. And it's not costing me anything other than my time, so I'm not going to charge you for it either. So we did our first free event. Right. And we got 100 people there. They had a great day, but a lot of people came in and like, I've always been thinking about doing a practitioner training. I think I'm going to book it down. So I think we did something like 30 or 40,000 pounds in sales on that day for an event that cost me nothing other than my time. So I think again, shift your thinking around, because I had zero advertising spend on that.
Yeah.
Which is, the great thing I think about social media, the opportunity that we have today. Literally today you could have your own newspaper, your own TV channel, your own radio station, and your own publishing house for free.
Yeah.
By lunchtime. If you got started after this Facebook Live.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What it means is there are no excuses anymore.
Yeah. The gatekeepers are no longer
There's
there.
no excuses.
Yeah. No excuses.
And the other thing is, business is risky. It is risky.
Sure.
You got to put your money where your mouth is. Yeah. Because if you're not willing to take the risk, your clients won't be willing to take the risk with you. And why should they if you're not willing to take the risk? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
From a projection point of view, which is what I was talking about in my Facebook Live last night.
You don't go into business to fail, though, do you? Like, you don't go into a relationship to fail. So
no, there's always a risk, though.
There's always a risk. Yeah. Yeah. So.
So one, take the risk, then focus on what you want.
Right.
You know, as a therapist and a coach and a trainer, do I have liability insurance? Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I focus on never needing it.
Yeah. It's
But it's
interesting,
there.
isn't it, Sandy? Because that's what you were asking me about yesterday, about what which insurance company I use.
Yep.
So yeah. Can I ask you about every coach needs a coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who's your coach?
I have multiple coaches and mentors for different aspects and different areas.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've got a different mentor around health and fitness.
Right.
I've got a different mentor around digital in business.
Right.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, my background originally was digital, right? Because I was in my degrees in electronics, and I was a software engineer. But I don't want to do that anymore. So I outsource it. But I do have a mentor that basically teaches me how that works and what I should be doing.
Yeah. And that's a really good point, isn't it? Because you can't do it all. And it's knowing where your specialism is. There's somebody, I heard this expression recently, slay in your lane. It means finding out what it is that you're really good at and do that, and then outsource the rest.
Yeah. And
So different coaches for different areas of your life.
Yeah, and when you first start out, more than likely you will have to do it all yourself. But then as soon as you can afford to not do it yourself, then it's an investment. You know, here's an interesting experiment to do. Let's say that in your business you wanted to make £100,000 a year for your income, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, people watching this, do this exercise yourself. I've just picked a figure out of the air. And let's say that you want to do that working 25 hours a week, seeing clients 24 hours a week for 40 weeks. Yeah. So what's that? That's 1,000 hours a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
1,000 hours a year.
So you want to make 100,000 by working 1,000 hours out of the year. Okay, are you with me so far? So if we divide that, I don't really need my calculator to do this, then that's £100 an hour. If you were doing anything that you could pay somebody else less than £100 an hour to do, you'll never achieve your goal.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So if there is a, you know, if you're spending your time doing something that somebody else would do for £5 an hour, then what you're saying is you're worth £5 an hour, not £100 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're saying that to yourself. If you're doing something which somebody else would do for £50 an hour, you'll never achieve your goal, because what you're telling yourself and what you're telling the world is you're worth £50 an hour. So you're either going to make £50,000 or you're going to wind up working 2,000 hours out of the year. Does that make sense? That's a way to think about it. So, you know, at first, are you going to have to do everything? Yeah, probably, unless you've got a nice wedge of money to invest in your business. But then as soon as you start bringing some money in, start farming out the lower price jobs.
Right.
So you can put more of your effort into what you're doing. You know, when James and I first set up Fix My Mind, we did everything. But now, all that James does is outsourced everything. All that James does now is see clients.
It's a great place to be, isn't it? You get to work your way towards that.
Yeah. That is a goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really, this is what I love about NLP, how you can shift your mind. You know, my mind's been blown by the idea of being in the business of coaching, and I want to rush off and find out more about that. How do I start to? I think that shift has happened already. It doesn't take long.
Yep.
Now it's about how do I do that now. So for me, I need to go away and I need to figure out how do I now do that.
Yeah.
Be in the business of coaching. Yeah. So any other questions? I'm not sure who else is here. I know somebody else dropped in. Kadek, I'm not sure who that is. But feel free to post any questions that you've got. It might be an awkward time for people to be on the live now.
Yeah, because this is going to be available anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
After it's gone live,
Yeah.
and we'll be watching the any feeds in the comments. So if people want to put in questions after this is no longer live, then feel free. I'm quite happy to answer any of those.
Okay, thank you, David, for that. All right, so if there aren't any other questions, we're going to say thank you for jumping on, and put hashtag replay as well, so that I can see at what point you came in and when you post your questions. All right, so have a wonderful, wonderful day. Lots of love. Thank you so much,
guys.
David.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You really made my year. This has been quite a challenging year so far. So thank you so much. All right, lots of love, everybody.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.